Tragedy, says Aristotle, is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude through pity and fear, effecting the proper purgation of these emotions. Sophocles' Oedipus Rex best honors the genre of Aristotelian tragedy because of the omnipresent themes and structures of the play. Firstly, the play evokes pity and fear in the audience, and then the theme of fate versus free will is significantly more meaningful. Lastly, Oedipus is the perfect example of a tragic hero. To begin with, Sophocles' Oedipus Rex best honors the Aristotelian tragedy because the play evokes pity and fear within the audience. For instance, Aristotle presents the idea of evoking fear and pity in the audience by presenting a human's struggles or in distress. In Oedipus Rex, Oedipus is victim of incest and disrespect of his parents when he kills his father and marries his mother. As they state, "Behold Oedipus, he who knew the famous riddle and rose to greatness. His good fortune was the envy of all. See him now, and see how the waves of disaster have swallowed him. Look upon the last day always. Count no mortal happy till he has passed the final limit of his life without calamity." Sophocles 10. This demonstrates that the Greeks can relate to the shame and fear brought by the consequences of those actions. Once all those emotions come to play, the catharsis lets the audience release it all at once, as we see it in the end when Oedipus blinds himself and Jocasta commits suicide. Once Oedipus gets banned, it is a relief and the catharsis has occurred. Hamlet by Shakespeare, on the other hand, does not end with the same intensity during the catharsis. Although the audience might have little pity for Hamlet after the death of his father, everyone seemed to move on so quickly. Even in the play, no one gave him a chance to mourn. As Claudius states, "Fie, 'tis a fault to heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault to nature, to reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried, from the first course till he that died today. This must be so. We pray you thrown to earth, this unprevailed woe, and think of us as of a father." Shakespeare 24. This demonstrates that Hamlet does not have the same whirlpool of emotions evoked in the audience like Oedipus Rex does. Would one want to be in Oedipus' shoes? Even Oedipus said, "I will not bring this pain upon us both." Sophocles 3. Accordingly, Oedipus Rex has more emphasis on the emotions embedded in the audience than Hamlet, making it more suitable to represent the Aristotelian tragedy concept. Secondly, the Greeks believed that fate is preordained. Therefore, the themes of fate and free will are omnipresent within the theme, especially Oedipus Rex, as the audience can see the ideology of one can fight it, like a coward, or be a hero and accept it. Oedipus fights it and is in denial the whole time. His fate is inescapable, as he was told by Tiresias. "Did you not understand before? Would you provoke me into speaking? You are the murderer of the king." Sophocles 4. He also states, "He will exchange blindness for sight and poverty for riches." Sophocles 4. In the end, the audience sees Oedipus indeed blind himself. He rushed and saw his wife hanging, the twisted ropes around her neck. He cried out fearfully and cut the dangling noose. He tore the brooches from her and lifted them up high and dashed them into his eyeballs, shrieking out such things as, "They will never see the crime I have committed." Sophocles 9. This demonstrates that no matter how much a person thinks they have free will and control, fate will always empower them. Conversely, Shakespeare's Hamlet does not present much fate within the play. In fact, the Aristotelian tragedy shows that fate will always be present no matter how much you choose your path, but Hamlet did not follow that convention. It is mostly free will that leads to his fate. Hamlet's poor decisions, or inability to decide, have led them to his death. His fate was to kill Claudius to avenge his father, the ghost, but it resulted in his own death as he kept postponing or contemplating the death of his uncle. In the end, Hamlet says, "Heaven make thee free of it. I follow thee. I am dead. Horatio, wretched queen, adieu." Shakespeare 3:30. This shows that Hamlet's actions or non-actions provoked his fate, but it is not as clear as Oedipus Rex shows. Oedipus Rex clearly demonstrates his fate, just like the Greeks' strong belief within that theme. To conclude, Oedipus Rex prevails the theme of fate versus free will, distinctly unlike Hamlet that is more in between the lines. One more point that needs to be discussed is that Oedipus is the perfect example of a tragic hero, as his hubris leads to his downfall. Sophocles states, "The man who is arrogant and does not fear the gods and blasphemes in the holy place must fall to an evil fate." Sophocles 7. His arrogance is at play even after his fate. That makes it so tragic. "It was Apollo that brought my ruin to completion, but the hand that struck was my own. Why should I see when vision shows me nothing sweet to see? Curse the man who rescued me as I lay cast out on the hillside. He stole me from death. I wish I had died then." Sophocles 10. This demonstrates that even after everything goes downhill, Oedipus's hamartia is simply stronger than him, where a bigger force is at play. The audience can also see the irony when Oedipus wants to be the hero and save the town from the plague, but ends up being the murderer that follows his fate. Contrary to Hamlet, his hamartia of indecisiveness leads to his death. Couldn't his free will be his destruction, as he does not know what to do? His character does not present him as a hero, but just simply tragedy. This shows that Hamlet does not provide the more depth characteristics of a tragic hero as proper as Oedipus does. One could say that Hamlet has a more tragic ending, which results in death. Nevertheless, Oedipus is living in blindness, as death would have been merciful. In short, Oedipus represents a true tragic hero that follows Aristotle's point of view of tragedy. In conclusion, Oedipus Rex by Sophocles is the better representation of the Aristotelian tragedy because of its overall characteristics and present themes. The play evokes pity and fear. The themes of free will and fate is clearly stated, and Oedipus clearly takes the role of a tragic hero. As a final thought, in the Aristotelian tragedy, fate and free will is a huge topic that to this day discussed. In Greek tragedy, gods have a huge impact on fate, and it makes the readers wonder if religion and a person's beliefs are an aspect. Is this why scientists, neurologists, and psychologists cannot comprehend it? Is religion the answer?